Have you ever stopped to consider the lengths some people will go to prove a point? Enter John Basso, the audacious mastermind behind the Heart Attack Grill, a restaurant that unapologetically serves up the world's unhealthiest menu. But what inspired Basso to create such a polarizing concept, and what have been the far-reaching consequences of his unconventional approach? Before we sink our teeth into the meaty details, let's take a moment to examine Basso's background. Prior to launching the Heart Attack Grill, he was the owner of a successful chain of exercise gyms. It may seem like an odd pivot, but here's the kicker: Basso had grown disillusioned with what he perceived as the health and fitness industry's pervasive dishonesty, claiming that it peddled unrealistic expectations and preyed upon people's insecurities. Fueled by a desire to create something radically different, he set out to establish a concept that would be unabashedly forthright about the health risks associated with its menu offerings. Thus, the Heart Attack Grill was born, a restaurant that unashamedly boasts a menu laden with high-calorie, artery-clogging dishes. From the instant you cross the threshold, it becomes abundantly clear that this is no run-of-the-mill dining experience. The waitstaff, adorned in nurse uniforms, tend to their patients' customers, while the menu features items with cheeky monikers like bypass burger and flatliner fries. It's a clever gimmick, undoubtedly, but one that has managed to capture the attention of both the media and the public at large. And capture attention it did. The Heart Attack Grill's distinctive approach ignited a media firestorm, with news outlets across the globe scrambling to cover the story. Astonishingly, the restaurant's website even managed to surpass that of fast food behemoth McDonald's in terms of web traffic, a remarkable feat for a standalone eatery in Las Vegas. It appeared that Basso had struck a chord, tapping into a perverse fascination with unhealthy eating habits that many found impossible to resist. However, this is where the story takes a more complex turn. The Heart Attack Grill's menu is not for the faint of heart, pun intended. It features items that are genuinely hazardous to consume on a regular basis. In a shocking display of gastronomic excess, the restaurant even secured a Guinness World Record for the most calorie-laden burger, the quadruple bypass burger, weighing in at a staggering 9,982 calories. To put that into perspective, consuming this behemoth would be equivalent to ingesting more than 4 days' worth of recommended caloric intake in a single sitting. As if that weren't enough to give pause, the burger is served with a chilling caveat, a warning that indulging in it could quite literally be a matter of life and death. This raises the question: what are the potential ramifications of serving such unhealthy fare? On the one hand, you could argue that Basso is merely catering to consumer demand. After all, patrons of the Heart Attack Grill are not coerced into dining there. It is a conscious decision made with full awareness of the inherent risks. Moreover, in a nation grappling with an obesity epidemic, one could argue that a dose of unvarnished truth is precisely what's needed to confront the issue head-on. Conversely, there is a compelling argument to be made that the Heart Attack Grill's approach is both irresponsible and morally questionable. By glamorizing and trivializing unhealthy eating habits, the restaurant could be seen as enabling and even encouraging dangerous behavior. Furthermore, the issue of liability looms large. Should a patron suffer a heart attack or other serious health complication after consuming a meal at the Heart Attack Grill, could the establishment be held legally responsible? These are complex questions with no clear-cut answers, and they have undoubtedly contributed to the controversy and negative publicity that have plagued the Heart Attack Grill over the years. In fact, the restaurant has even been the target of lawsuits filed by patrons alleging that the food made them ill. Yet, Basso remains steadfast in his convictions, maintaining that he is simply providing people with what they desire and that personal accountability is paramount. To underscore the potential perils of the Heart Attack Grill's approach, let us delve into the tragic case of Blair River. A spokesperson for the restaurant, featured prominently in its advertisements and openly shared his experiences with the menu. He was a larger-than-life figure, tipping the scales at over 500 pounds and unabashedly embracing his penchant for unhealthy cuisine. However, in a heartbreaking turn of events, River passed away from pneumonia in 2011 at the tender age of 29. While his death was not directly attributable to his dietary habits, it served as a poignant reminder of the dire consequences associated with extreme obesity. River's untimely demise is just one of the many tragedies that have become intertwined with the Heart Attack Grill's history. In 2012, a customer suffered a heart attack while consuming one of the restaurant's notorious triple bypass burgers. The following year, another patron collapsed while partaking in a double bypass burger. These disturbing incidents only served to intensify the negative attention surrounding the establishment and raised pressing concerns about the wisdom of its approach. Shockingly, despite the lawsuits, bad press, and even deaths, the Heart Attack Grill remains defiantly open for business. Some might argue that the controversy has actually worked in the restaurant's favor, keeping it in the public eye and attracting a steady stream of curious patrons eager to experience the morbid thrill for themselves. After all, as the old adage goes, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But as we reflect on the Heart Attack Grill's story and the enigmatic figure at its helm, John Basso, it's impossible not to feel a sense of unease mingling with our morbid curiosity. On the one hand, there's a certain admiration for Basso's unwavering commitment to his vision and his willingness to take a stand against what he perceives as the health and fitness industry's hypocrisy. Yet on the other hand, it's deeply troubling to consider the very real dangers posed by the restaurant's menu and the potential for irreparable harm. At its core, the Heart Attack Grill raises profound questions about personal responsibility, corporate ethics, and the role of government in regulating the food industry. Should restaurants be granted carte blanche to serve whatever they please, regardless of the potential health consequences? Or do they have a moral imperative to promote healthier choices? And what about the consumers themselves? Are they solely responsible for their own dietary decisions, or do restaurants have an obligation to shield them from their own self-destructive impulses? These are thorny issues that defy simple solutions, and the debate surrounding them is likely to rage on for the foreseeable future. However, one thing is certain: the Heart Attack Grill has left an indelible mark on the culinary landscape and the broader cultural conversation surrounding food and health. It has forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about our relationship with what we eat and has challenged our preconceived notions about what it means to live a healthy life. So, the next time you find yourself tempted to indulge in a greasy cheeseburger or a heaping pile of fries, take a moment to reflect on the cautionary tale of John Basso and the Heart Attack Grill. Ask yourself, is the fleeting pleasure of consuming unhealthy food worth the potential long-term consequences? What kind of message are we sending to ourselves and society when we glorify and romanticize the very things that are slowly killing us? These are weighty questions that demand serious contemplation. But they are questions that we must all grapple with if we hope to cultivate a healthier, more vibrant future for ourselves and generations to come. The Heart Attack Grill may represent an extreme case, but it serves as a stark reminder of the importance of taking ownership of our health and well-being, and of the need for greater transparency and accountability in the food industry. Ultimately, the legacy of the Heart Attack Grill and its controversial creator, John Basso, remains a topic of fierce debate. Some see it as a harmless exercise in free speech and personal choice, while others condemn it as a reckless and reprehensible exploitation of our worst impulses. There are no easy answers, but one thing is certain: the Heart Attack Grill has sparked a conversation that will continue to captivate, infuriate, and inspire us for years to come. As we grapple with the complex web of issues surrounding food, health, and personal responsibility, it's clear that the Heart Attack Grill represents a microcosm of the broader challenges we face as a society. How do we balance the competing demands of individual liberty and public health? How do we create a food system that prioritizes both taste and nutrition? And how do we foster a culture that values mindfulness, moderation, and self-care? These are not easy questions, but they are ones that we must confront head-on if we hope to build a brighter, healthier future. The Heart Attack Grill may be an extreme example, but it is a powerful reminder of the stakes involved and the urgent need for change. So as we move forward, let us use the lessons of the Heart Attack Grill to spark a deeper, more nuanced conversation about the role of food in our lives and the kind of world we want to create. Let us challenge ourselves to think more critically about the choices we make and the impact they have on ourselves and others, and let us work together to build a society that values health, happiness, and human flourishing above all else. In the end, the story of John Basso and the Heart Attack Grill is a cautionary tale, but it is also an invitation to reflection and action. It is a reminder that the choices we make about what we put into our bodies have profound consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. And it is a call to arms, urging us to take a stand for a healthier, more sustainable future one bite at a time. So what will you choose? Will you succumb to the siren song of the Heart Attack Grill, or will you chart a different course, one that leads to a life of vitality, purpose, and joy? The choice is yours, but the stakes could not be higher. Choose wisely, for the future of our health, our happiness, and our planet hangs in the balance. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.